the domains that in no way are specified in the U.S. Constitution are the freedoms to which we're entitled as members of a family or household, and the freedoms that are specific to our social activities.
All right, so to be clear, the Constitution was very good, or at least articulate in saying how we have freedom to dispose of our property, to do with our stuff with what we like, and we have freedom to participate in the rules governing how we are to dispose of our property.
And of course, to have, thanks to various amendments, certain guarantees regarding freedom of religious practice, political speech, and equal treatment under the law. But that still leaves wide open. What are our real entitlements as members of the family, as well as members of society? And in terms of society, we're dealing with rights that pertain to such things as our economic freedoms, our freedoms to engage in social interest groups, where we band together with others who share particular interests, and we act to, in some respect, promote the fulfillment of our shared interests in ways that do not undercut the social rights of others. Then our rights to, in a sense, participate in the civil legal process, where our social rights, our household rights, and our property rights are up for grabs and need to be enforced. And then the rights we have as individuals who are subject to the kind of public interventions that need to be made to enable us to actually exercise our economic freedoms, as well as our family freedoms.
So in our Constitution that actually enumerated all of the appropriate rights, you would not just deal with the property rights. We would also deal with the rights to organize, rights to, but we have an entire sphere of law that's family law. Is that not appropriate?
But the question is, where does it have any constitutional guarantees? Of course, there is a sphere, but in terms of any, let's say, specification of rights that in a way should not be subject to removal by further statutory activity. We don't have those kind of guarantees. I think it's useful to think about the comparisons between the Universal Declaration of Rights that was drawn up under, in a sense, the leadership of Eleanor Roosevelt and was embraced by all the countries that were entering into the new United Nations. It has a much wider domain of rights that include those pertaining to social rights and household rights. That's not to say that the signers in any way are abiding by those rights, but it put on the table certain kinds of rights and the corresponding obligations of recognizing those rights of one's fellow members of society and so forth, that our Constitution has yet to fully absorb and guarantee.
So there is such a thing as family rights, and we know that there is such a thing as family rights because we have a family court that says, I'm allowed to treat my child differently than a stranger is allowed to treat my child.
And one has certain rights and duties with regard to a spouse that obviously are different from one's rights and duties with regard to one's lover, who is not married, or to friends, or to strangers.
Good.
And all of these are relevant and
recognized. I can visit my wife in the hospital in a way that other people can't.
And this also pertains to who one is entitled to marry.
Right.
One of the latest advances in removing unjustified restrictions on the exercise of family freedom was to extend the right to marry to people who are not heterosexual.
And before that, it was laws against miscegenation.
And of course, there were obviously all sorts of inequalities built into the marital relationship pertaining to gender differences and the like, which have, to a large extent, been removed. But if you think about the way in which our economic activity is allowed to operate, it still operates in a way that makes it very difficult for members of society to fulfill their family rights and duties, especially women, given the realities of childbirth and, care for children at the very outset. So breastfeeding and the like.
Yeah. So in a well-ordered sphere of rights, all of these different spheres of right are interdependent and don't kind of encroach upon the other.
Yeah.
I should be able to fulfill my rights as a spouse to my spouse, and also at the same time fulfill my social rights, and also at the same time be able to participate in a democracy in a way that's appropriate. And
but the partialities that are legitimate within the household are not legitimate to intrude into social opportunities or political opportunities. Then it becomes a nepotism, which has a negative significance.
Right.
Likewise, one's economic freedoms and one's pursuit of wealth and earning and so forth should not be allowed to intrude into the sphere of politics, where it could have any unequal impact upon one's political options and political opportunities. So,
So-
in this respect, each type of freedom needs to be maintained within its sphere and not be allowed to intrude beyond it. And only then can we actually really exercise our political self-determination and governance.
All right, so if I work a job and my job precludes me from leaving to go vote,
Yeah, yeah.
you would say that that's an infringement on my rights.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, if one's either family rights and duties or social rights and duties are not going to prevent one from participating on equal footing with others in the political sphere,
Right.
certain kinds of adjustments have to be made. And that means, on the one hand, that one's family rights and responsibilities and social rights and responsibilities have to be so fashioned that all citizens have the time, in some respect, to participate in politics. And that means not only having some free time to do so,
Right.
but also to be provided with the resources to engage in political activity. So, for example, it's not enough to say that we can all have universal suffrage,
Okay.
right? We supposedly have the right, all of us, to run for office.
Right.
But it's no accident that if you look at who our representatives are, they now, for the first time, have
Independently
become,
wealthy.
on average, millionaires.